icy boats. Oh, I hate to admit it, but we are going to the dark side. That's right, a powerboat. Speedboat, stink pot, go fast. Don't worry, it's 2 hulls or it's none for me, but there are some questions that can only be answered by stepping on board. If you're headed to a boat show, don't just walk the docks, walk in with a plan. I'll help you ask smarter questions and avoid the money pits. Let's get you closer to living the dream. We're going to go look at some power boats that are tall enough for us and have beds that we fit in because some of them are pretty short. I'm also going to be scoping out headroom because that's one thing I didn't realize would be a problem on our first boat. After 6 years, I've learned a lot, and I'm putting it to work and sharing it with you as we find our new boat. Hi, I'm Robin, and I'm obsessed with catamarans. Our very first boat was a Lagoon 380 38-foot sailing catamaran. And it was great, and we loved it for 6 years. But now, you know what? I feel the need for speed. So it's out with the sails, in with the big engines, and plus it with new adventures. That's what brings us to the Suncoast Boat Show today. My husband and I are searching for the perfect power catamaran. And if you followed my old channel, Reboot the Catamaran, you know once I get my hands on our new boat, I'm going to start tinkering with it like crazy, just like I did with Reboot. Whatever boat we get, I'm going to make it beautiful, and I'm going to light it up with solar and lithium. That I know for sure. The rest, it's up in the air. We don't have a name yet. We don't even know which boat yet, but we do know that the journey will be a blast. Hey, join the adventure. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell to be part of our journey. I'm kicking off episode 1 and the start of this channel with a visit to the Suncoast Boat Show in Sarasota, Florida. It's a gorgeous late April morning, and I know it's going to be hot, so we're trying to get there right as it opens. Icy boats! Boat shows can be overwhelming. It seems like everything everyone's selling has some sort of noise associated with it, and every speaker manufacturer wants you to know theirs is the boomiest. I've been told as a new soon-to-be powerboat owner that there's no such thing as too loud. And that's going to be an adjustment. I'm glad I brought some earplugs, and it's not a bad idea if you're going to be at the boat show, because if you're going to go dreamboat hunting, you have to be prepared. I wonder if I'll end up walking by your dreamboat. If you see yours, let me know in the comments, and please thumb wrestle the like button. But back to Suncoast. It's ground zero for the center console crowd. We're not looking for a center console, but it was good to be out walking around and looking at sturf. So much sturf for your boat. Sturf is like stuff, but you think it's necessary. You think you need the sturf, but it's really just stuff. Still, that hookah diving setup was cool sturf. From a tactical point of view, we should have hit up the boats first thing when it was still cooler, and then gone inside the tent after lunch when the sun was the hottest. This was the first boat show we've been to since we sold Reboot, our sailing catamaran, and it was both weird and a little exhilarating not knowing what we were shopping for. Have you ever been to a boat show where you had no idea what you wanted? The Suncoast show was much, much smaller than Flibbs or Annapolis. Sarasota, Florida also has this really weird, enormous statue that is just such an on-the-nose replica of the famous World War II photograph that it's uncomfortable. Literally, I feel bad looking up the poor nurse's skirt as she's mashed on by an unknown dude. But whatever, some people really dig it, and I'm an artist, so I'm not going to say it's not art, because it is, but it's definitely not my thing. Have you seen it in person? Think it's weird, or you think it's cool? I definitely think it's weird. When I tell you I hunted for an online map or a list or something of the boats that were going to be on display, I hunted. I also came up short and ended up calling Aquila, Aerocats, Aventura, Fontaine Peugeot, and Leopard's retailers and asking if they'd be here. The answer surprised me, but maybe it shouldn't have. Annapolis is where you go to fangirl the other YouTubers, and Flibbs is where everyone who's ever thought of buying a boat goes. If I had to pick one or the other, I'd say it depends on your priorities. For me, Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show is a 2-hour drive. Annapolis was 2 hours in the Uber just to get to the airport. And it doesn't matter if you request no chatting, have your big noise-canceling headphones on, and your laptop open in front of you, the driver will persist in asking question after question for 2 solid hours. Flibbs also has some pretty cool ferry transportation from your hotel to the show and back. So despite the crowds, it wins in my book. Have you been to a boat show? Do you have a favorite? But back to Suncoast. It's ground zero for the center console crowd. We're not looking for a center console, but it was good to be out walking around and looking at Sturf. I am not a Gulf Coast native. I have roots in so many places I'm kudzu, but it is where I feel the most at home and where I've called home for the past few years. I've incorporated yous, yins, y'all, and now yang into my vocabulary. It's like island time and Alabama had a baby and it's Southwest Florida, and I am here for it. I'm not going to ask you what you think of Florida, but if you have to tell me, please be gentle. Do you think the free alcohol at boat shows is a perk or a problem? What I'm not such a huge fan of is the shockingly small number of restrooms. While we may have miscalculated by not going to the boats first, the one thing we did get right was eating a really early lunch before the food trucks have a chance to let the mayo sit out in the Florida heat for a few hours. Fool me twice, food trucks. To be fair, this was one of the most amazing gyro-type piles of food I have ever eaten. Nothing like eating a bunch of raw onions and then crowding onto a small boat with 10 strangers. Worth it. We're looking for a power catamaran. Monohulls make me barf. It's not them, it's me. I can do hobby horsing all day long, but put me on anything that swings like a pendulum, and my stomach nopes out so hard. If you've ever been on the Pixar Pal-Around Ferris wheel at Disneyland and thrown up on it, that's how I feel on monohulls any smaller than a cruise ship. And yeah, I was this close to losing my Dole Whip in the happiest place on earth. Do you struggle with seasickness or Ferris wheel sickness? I can tell you, I love our relief bands for seasickness, and I'll talk about those in another episode. Not sponsored, just a big fan. It turns out that there was not a multi-hull to be seen beyond some fetching center console catamarans. But that's okay because it meant I got to play tourist and step on board a new 2025 Axopar 45 XC cross cabin, among others. We did make a rule that I couldn't get on board any boat that was more than $2 million. Not because we have a $2 million budget. Wouldn't that be nice? But we have some weddings to pay for, and I'm assuming our eventual assisted living place will be Austin Powers expensive by the time we get feeble. But because, like wedding dresses, you don't try on ones outside of your budget because they're just better. And if you don't know what better is, you don't miss it. Back to the Axopar. It's the first boat we stepped on today. Have you ever been on a boat like this? Tell me your experience with it because I was boggled by the 4 Mercury outboards. Can't they just make 2 really big ones? Is this a physics question or is it a who has the bigger eggplant question? Somebody enlighten me. Do you think I had to duck on a just barely under $1 million boat built by presumably tall Finns? Yep, I sure did. I mean, why? I'm 5'9", which is tall for a girl, but it's not that tall for people. Why not make it just a little taller? But, once I got inside, I quickly realized that it's not really what the boat is about. It's about being able to go very fast and then sit in the sun with all the unique hatches open, looking like a DeLorean on steroids. Plus the world's biggest sunroof, which I'm not sure is going to play well in Florida since we're all desperately trying to control when and where the sun beats mercilessly down upon us. I'm not sure that fabric sunroof isn't going to flap like a chicken caught in a bicycle wheel at speed either. And come on, the water closet is actually a closet built for gnomes because they have those in Finland. I'm conflicted about the DeLorean hatches. On the one hand, they look super cool. On the other hand, the forward canted helm windows will push water going over the bow back down onto them. So those gaskets better be absolutely perfect because things are always perfect on boats, right? I actually really like the reverse angle on the windows, just not paired with the DeLorean hatches. What do you think? Am I being too picky? I don't know how to feel about the 70s feeling conversation pit at the stern. It just feels like a lot of cushions and no headroom. The table's clever though. It slides, it folds, it rotates. I've seen that on either the Aquilas or the Fontaine Peugeot Power Cats. I've looked at so many online that they're starting to run together. But cool convertible tables are a thing now on some boats and I'm here for it. Little chef not included, but probably necessary. What'd you think of the Axopar? Would you buy it? I'm constantly seeing ways to improve things. It drives me crazy. I can't turn it off. Is it a bug? Is it a feature? Who knows? Hey, if you made it this far, you're clearly serious about finding the right boat. Subscribe and come aboard. I've got more videos to help you every step of the way. If it had one more hull, I might have considered it. Once we left the Axopar, I made a beeline for the most enormous yacht I could find. Nope, I'm not shopping for an enormous yacht. I want to stay 40 feet or under. But how often do you get to step on board an enormous yacht? I totally won the bet. My husband thought it would be $2 million. I said, less than $1 million. It was $640,000. Don't be fooled. After owning a 38-foot boat for 6 years, I know the upkeep on this behemoth would be staggering. Still, why not explore? Next episode, you'll get to see inside berth of the behemoth, and I'll hop on board a boat my even taller friends are considering. Thanks for watching. Please share it with someone who loves boats and boating as much as we do. Remember to subscribe, and see you out there.